What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel. So good to have you here. So listen, finally got to finish watching the Roadhouse remake with Jake Gyllenhaal, and I want to give my review. So let's talk about it. Let's dive right into it. The Roadhouse. First off, as I've reported, the Roadhouse was put on Prime, which I think Amazon. Well, first off, after the first reviews came out, many people were saying Prime made a mistake. They should have put it in theaters because it was actually pretty good. And after watching it, I agree. I agree. Amazon missed some money on this one. And I say that because I'm not sure if they're going to gain subscribers from people watching uh Row House, but I would have saw this in theaters. Um but before I dive into it, give you Marcus's synopsis of the movie, right? So essentially, the movie is about ex Ultimate Fighter, MMA or whatever, and he gets hired to help a bar owner in Florida Keys turn it around because they've had a bad element that is, kind of messing up what she's trying to do with the bar. And Jake Gyllenhaal plays the ex Ultimate Fighter, and he gets hired to come clean up the element that is messing up the bar. But plot twist, there's more to it than just there's a bad element, and he gets wrapped up in a conflict that he didn't know up front about, and yeah, that's essentially the story. So that is Marcus's real quick, brief synopsis. And obviously y'all know I don't try to spoil these movies because, especially if you haven't seen it, I want you to check it out. So now this is a remake from the Patrick Swayze movie of the '80s, Roadhouse, and I gotta say, I thought they did a really good job. Is it a perfect movie? No, but you know what? The Patrick Swayze Roadhouse movie wasn't a perfect movie. Now, as a kid growing up in the '80s, I loved the Roadhouse for reasons that I won't say, but it definitely has something to do with nudity. Oh, I guess I said it. But, and also violence and karate and Patrick Swayze, right? But it definitely had a lot to do with nudity. But anyways, um, and but it wasn't a perfect movie. But I really, really liked this film. Um, so let's go into what I liked about the movie. And again, no spoilers. I'm gonna do my best. I am going to spoil the first one. So if you didn't see the first Roadhouse, catch up, like for real. But I am going to spoil the first one, but I won't spoil the remake. One thing I like is that Dalton. By the way, Dalton, who is the main character, the protagonist, I believe is the only character by name that is in this film. Everybody else is not in the remake. Well, excuse me, not in the original. The character Dalton is the only character that was taken from the original and put into the remake. So a couple things I like. One, I like that you can see that Dalton is a hurt person that's carrying a dark secret from Jump Street. And that's not a spoiler. You can see clearly this guy is messed up and he's dealing with something. In the original, the Patrick Swayze one, you don't really discover that he has a dark secret until later on in the movie. He's never carrying it. He looks like he's a I was gonna say a well person, but someone who has their shit together. You know what I mean? He's a bouncer. He's good at what he does. He's the best at what he does. Very polite and well put together. So you don't see that, oh, he's actually done something in his past. But in the remake, you get that out the gate. Like, Dalton is fucked up. Like, he's got issues. And I like that. I like that about this one. I like that he was an ultimate fighter. Um, because in the original, everybody knew who Dalton was. Like, he was an urban legend, right? Everybody was like, "Oh, that's Dalton. That's Dalton." And everybody knew, or when I say everybody knew, they heard the stories about him. Had that he's killed somebody and all sort of stuff. And so, um, it worked for the '80s, but at the same time, it didn't make sense. Well, it made sense, but it wasn't really great. Like the fact that, oh, everybody knows that this guy's awesome at what he does. I mean, he went to a whole nother city in the original, and they all still knew that he was a badass. Okay, it worked for the '80s, but I like that this one, he's an ultimate fighter, and everybody knew him because they saw him on TV. So it was more realistic. It made more sense why people knew he was badass because they watched him. They saw him on TV. So I like that. I like the shout outs that they did to the original. I do, even though I feel like this movie is its own movie. I really do. You don't need to watch the original to really enjoy this movie. Matter of fact, you may never have seen the original and will enjoy this movie. It's its own movie, but it definitely gives shout outs to the original. There are some scenes and lines that they take directly from the original and redo it, and it makes complete sense, and it's great, and I love it. I'm gonna say one line. No, I won't. I'm gonna leave it alone. But there are some. I think there's like two lines that, in particular, that as soon as it came up, I was quoting it before Jake Gyllenhaal said it because I was like, they're gonna say the line, and then they do it. So I like that. I dug that a lot. Um, there's a couple of scenes that they also remake in this movie that is completely a shout out to the first one, and I dug that. I like that this one had comedy. There was really no comedy in the original, but this one was funny. The scene in the trailer that you all saw with him smacking people, I was finished. It was so good I had to rewind and watch it again. Like, it was funny. The comedy in this works. Um, does all of it work? No, but I like that they added an element of comedy to this because it helps the movie along, and I appreciated it. Um, I like that the antagonist's reasoning for terrorizing the Roadhouse makes the stakes higher than the stakes that were in the original movie. Um, in the original movie, he's just a rich prick that runs the town and doesn't like anyone opposing him. In this one, there's an element of that, but it's more than just that. And because there's more than just that, the stakes are higher in this, and it makes for a good movie. So I like that the stakes were higher. Um, so in both the original and the remake, there's a moment that happens that turns Dalton into the beast that he is. And in the original, it was the guy Red, his store being jacked, him getting beat up and them messing up his store, and then also they uh, uh, go after the person he was renting his apartment, his house from, or he's renting a room or whatever, a loft from a guy, and they mess him up, and uh, that sets him off. Um, there's a few more things that happen to Dalton in the remake that causes him to be set off, and I liked it better than the original. Well, not that I like it better, but it just made more sense why he would be so fired up. Like, yo, I get it now. One has to do with a really cute girl. She was awesome. I loved her character at the bookstore. She was great. Um, did I spoil it? I don't think I did. If I did, my bad. No, no, I didn't. I didn't. But she is a really cute character, and something happens that involves her. Not no spoiler, but something does happen, and um, maybe I am spoiling. If I am, I'm sorry. We'll move on because I feel like I'm going down a rabbit hole and I can't get out of. All right, so that's why I all those are reasons why I really enjoyed the movie. Now I did have some dislikes. Uh, I think the romance in this movie is just as quick and unbelievable as the first movie. The first movie, it was like I see you, you see me, you're cute, yeah, I'm cute, and we love each other. It was the same thing in this one. It was like boo, but I get it because the romance was secondary to the story, but it was just as lame, and it lacked some of the things that I liked about the original movie. This love didn't match the original, so I didn't like that. Um, I hated some of the camera angles in this movie. Some of the cinematography, they were going for like a Michael Mann, I don't know, view, and I hated it. I hated it. Some of the cinematography was very distracting. Some of it was good, but some of it was like, if you don't just put that mother effing camera down and let me enjoy this scene, please. But the good news is it wasn't a lot of it, enough for me to not like the movie, but it was enough to where it got distracting. But with that being said, I thought Jake Gyllenhaal was cool. Oh, one last thing I didn't like. I think Jay Dalton's pain, although real, why he does it was kind of okay. It was bad writing, in my opinion. At least in the original, you understand why he goes off in the past. You understand his reasoning for going off in the past. In the past, a married man, he messed with a girl. Come to find out she was married, and the married man came to him and essentially pointed a gun at him. And in self defense, Dalton goes off on him and kills him. That's the original. That is not what happens in the remake. And what happens in the remake is the reason why he has his pain, and you get that. But why he does it is kind of okay. That part was kind of lame. Like, oh, or that's why you're like that. You know what I mean? But it wasn't bad enough for me to not like the movie at all. But it was simple. It was almost like a cop out. Like I don't feel like going deeper into this guy. We're just gonna say this is why he does what he does and keep it moving. But overall, I enjoyed it very much. So on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being fantastic, a must see, and 1 being zone out on this one, you don't need to watch it. I'm gonna give it a 4. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it because I'm a huge fan of the remake, and it was nice to see. Excuse me, a huge fan of the original, and it was nice to see a remake that actually was pretty good. Uh, and I think that they did well enough that I would actually watch a sequel of this one, and I believe that they are having a sequel of this one. So, the antagonist in this movie, um, what's my man name? Uh, uh, Conor McGregor. Oh man, that was gonna bother me. Did great, but he was Conor McGregor, in my opinion, in this movie. But it was cool seeing him be free and being Conor McGregor because Conor McGregor being Conor McGregor gets him in trouble in real life, but he got to be free and be him in this movie. And I loved it. In other words, he played the character well, but I think he was being who he always wants to be. I think he was being the character that he is in real life in UFC. Um, but because it's acting, he was able to go all out. And because of it, it was real, it was genuine, and I loved it. It if it was anybody else, I would have said it was a little over the top, like he was trying too hard. But because I knew it was Conor McGregor being him, it didn't appear that way at all because of who it was. and he looked like he was having a blast doing it. So I enjoy watching him. Now, there's a post-credit scene, so definitely stay. Definitely make sure you watch it. But yeah, overall, again, this was a 4 for me. Good movie. So with that being said, definitely check it out. I think it's worth the watch. It's on Prime. Roadhouse. Do me a favor, y'all. If you like this content, click that like button and subscribe and share with others. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and we need your help getting there. I appreciate it. Stay tuned for more reactions and reviews. Until the next one, y'all. Peace.